You just gotta love it when a new Tower of God article is released and you get to break it down, see what these anime-onlys are talking about, and CBR just released a new one titled Tower of God, the 5 strongest characters and 5 weakest ranked. Now, CBR is interesting because a few weeks ago they released an article that talked about how they were surprised and the anime finally confirmed that Yuri was the strongest princess, and ever since then, I've learned to be a little fishy with CBR because they clearly don't understand certain aspects of the tower, and of course I never blamed CBR, right? I mean, some aspects of the tower are rather confusing with rankers and regulars, but still, this article caught my attention and I thought I'd check it out, and once I began reading it, I quickly realized that this was the funniest thing I've ever read. The way they format this article is they give you a strong character and then a weak character and then a strong character and weak character until they get to the strongest character in Tower of God and the weakest character in Tower of God. Now, I assumed that they were only going off of the anime, right? I went through the list, they're all anime-only characters, so obviously we have to assume that they're judging off of what we've seen in the anime. So right off the bat, the number 10 character, the 5th strongest, is Khun. And I can agree with this, right? Khun is from one of the 10 great families. He's quite strong. We've seen his potential in the Crown game. They talk about his intellect and his superiority when it comes to coming up with plans, and I can see that, right? But this tells you right off the bat, okay, if Khun is at number 5, there can't be rankers on this list, right? It wouldn't make any sense. Well, let's continue. Number 9 on the list, or the 5th weakest character in Tower of God, they say is Rak. Now, Rak is definitely not the strongest regular in Tower of God, right? He's definitely quite strong, though. I mean, he's one of the only ones who passes the test before even doing the hide-and-seek test. Like, he passes his position before even having to do the hide-and-seek test. He doesn't have to participate. And obviously, his physical strength is quite strong. His physical strength is quite strong. We know that he is powerful, right? I mean, he has a lot of potential, he's powerful. He's not as strong as maybe Dorsey or Anak or Khun, probably, but we know he's quite strong. However, once you scroll down and see what they put down for Rak, let's just take a look here. His rough exterior makes him seem like a monster than a friend. Rak is a C rank fighter. Rak is a C rank fighter. What? If you're an anime only, just some very minor spoilers here. Skip to this timestamp if you want to skip it. It should be very quick. Rak is a C rank regular in the current point in the story. In season 3 of the webcomic, Rak is a C rank regular. So is Khun. So is Bomb. So is like everybody. So if they're going off of anime-only stats, or you know, power levels or whatever, why on earth would they include that? It's as if the author of the article doesn't even know what a C-rank fighter is. It's like they just Googled Rak Wraithrazor, saw that he was C-rank, and just wrote it down. Like, if Rak was a C-rank regular at this point in the anime, he would be the strongest character. Like, they're on the, oh my gosh, I can't even tell you. There's so much wrong with that statement. When we scroll down to the bottom here, Rak slowly recedes into the background and turns into moral support. He's handy with a weapon, but all the strongest fighters in the tower use Shinsu. So this is true, right? Like, to be able to be powerful in Tower of God, you have to use Shinsu, so I get what they're saying. You could make an argument that Rak does kind of use Shinsu. We haven't really seen him like control Shinsu per se, but he does have a strong affinity to it. He's able to walk right through the wall without any problems, blah, blah, blah. But whatever, I get it. It's just the thing we talked about is definitely problematic. Number 8 on the list, or the 4th strongest, is Dorsey. I completely agree with this. Obviously, Dorsey is one of the stronger regulars in the story. And again, if she's number 4, I mean, again, that must mean that they're only going off of regulars, right? Because if Khun's number 5 and Dorsey's number 4, there's no way that rankers are on the number 7 is Lei Ro. The 4th weakest character on this list is Lei Ro. Let that sink in. The argument that they give for Lei Ro is that Lei Ro is a light bearer, which means that he's competent when it comes to Shinsu, which, like, isn't necessarily true. Like, Rachel's a light bearer, so I don't really understand what they're saying there. Leiroro has talent, but the ambivalence that fills him puts him on a rocky path. His need for answers impedes his ability to improve, and he burns a lot of bridges that might hurt him down the road. Like, what are you saying? What? You're saying because he's on a rocky path and his need for answers makes him weaker than Dorsey? I don't know if I can do this, guys. Now, you could argue that they're saying that Leiroro is weak compared to other rankers, and just because they put him as weaker than Rak doesn't mean he's actually weaker than Rak, which doesn't make sense to me because you're including a ranker on a list with regulars and you're putting them next to each other. But okay, I guess you could say that. The whole Lightbearer thing still doesn't really make sense. But then you get to number 6 on the list. And number 6, the third strongest character, they put down as Yuga, or Ren. And yes, Yuga is quite strong. Ren is a powerhouse of a character because he's a ranker, right? He's from one of the 10 great families and he's a ranker. This means he's quite strong. But you're putting Leiroro as weak and Ren as strong next to Khun and Dorsey, right? Like, what? I'm not sure if they're just trying to compare it to other people, like, oh, Ren is strong for a ranker, which, like, I guess, but SIU, I believe, has stated that Leiroro could actually possibly defeat Ren in a fight, so, like, this person's just putting stuff down, and here's the kicker. Yuga holds his own against both Anak and Dorsey, who are strong in their own right, which speaks to just how powerful he is. He could defeat 2 regulars at once. Oh my gosh! You do realize that rankers and regulars are like, you cannot even compare them. Even when, as you climb into the tower, like 50th floor, 60th floor, rankers could like flick regulars and it would destroy their bodies, right? The difference between a ranker and a regular is so huge that you cannot even fathom it, okay? And you're saying that he's stronger than Leiroro because he fought Dorsey and Anak at once, who are strong regulars, but like, I don't like this. Number 5 on the list, or the third weakest, they put as Hots, which, whatever, I mean, compared to everybody else, I guess you could say he's weak, but you're saying he's weaker than Rak, which I don't necessarily know if I agree. And by the way, they sort of try to come up with a reason as to why he's on the weak list, but they sort of just praise his skills, right? His area of expertise is swordplay, he's a character who's supporting, but he can still defend himself, he helps them out, he's reliable. It's like, you said he's weak! Explain yourself! And then here we go, guys. Number 4 on the list, the second strongest character in the show, obviously, I mean, how could we not see this coming, is Bomb. Bomb is, did you know this, guys? Bomb is stronger than Hansung Yu. Bomb is stronger than Quant, and Leiroro, and Ren, and Dorsey, and... This is really sad. I don't like this. Does Bomb have talent? Yes. Yes, Bomb has a lot of talent. They talk about this in their little thing here. Yes, he has the affinity to learn Shinsu. He's obviously gifted, right? Like, he learns Shinsu just like that, and he's able to pick up on skills and abilities just like that. Yes, obviously. But you're saying that he's the second, like, Bomb at this point is a weak kid who has potential, and in the anime, yes, he has the Shinsu explosions, which I guess are the reason why he's put this high, but even so, Ren could fight Bomb with like, his pinky toe, right? No, whatever, let's just move on. Number 3 on the list, they put him as the second weakest is Shibisu. Yes, okay, Shibisu is weak, yeah. And the strongest character on the list, number 2, the strongest character in Tower of God, they say is Yuri Jahad. I would agree with this. Yuri is quite strong, probably, you know, the strongest character we've seen in the anime so far. I don't necessarily disagree with that placement. It's just so weird, because you're saying that it goes Khun, Dorsey, Ren, Bomb, and then Yuri. Like, that's the hierarchy you're going for? That's how you're gonna grade these characters? And finally, number 1 on the list, the weakest character in Tower of God, they put down as Rachel, which, okay, I agree, you know, Shibisu and Rachel, they're basically regular people who are doing irregular things or whatever, but I don't really get it, because earlier they stated that because Leoro is a light bearer, he has an affinity for Shinsu. But then here they're like, Rachel has no talent, blah, blah, blah. I mean, yes, she doesn't, but she's still a light bearer, so you're kind of going against your own argument, which is a little strange to me. And then the last weird thing they say about Rachel is that she even suffers a serious injury later on that hinders her abilities even more. Which, like, what abilities was she using before then that now are hindered, right? And we know that she was faking her injury. Like, yes, she really got stabbed, but it wasn't as serious as they believed. She was able to stand up just fine, do everything just fine. So the entire argument that they're trying to make for all these characters don't make any sense, and let alone the placements of the characters themselves. So I just find it weird, right? First of all, the whole Rak thing was very strange. They're trying to use, like, stuff that doesn't even exist in the anime, and then they're trying to compare regulars to rankers, which doesn't make any sense at all, and honestly, it's just fun to talk about. Again, it's not CVR's fault. Don't go hating on CVR or the author of this article, but you at least do your research, right? At least, like, know what you're talking about. They're kind of just making stuff up and trying to explain their like surprising rankings, right? Like, oh, you'll never guess who's number one. But, like, they don't really make sense, and I just wish that they had actually defended their placements in a proper and well-researched way. That is all, guys, so make sure to leave a like on this video. If you enjoy the Tower of God content here on the channel that we make daily, by the way, or at least a new video a day on Webtoon content, then you can subscribe for more of that content. We also have a Patreon page, and we're so close to hitting our biggest goal that it's actually insane. If we hit this goal, our dub of Season 2 is going to be releasing 2 chapters in every single episode a week, which is, like, mind-boggling. So your support means the world, guys, but hopefully you enjoyed this video. And with that, I will see you in the next Tower of God video.